Boring intros will generate you more views and sales, and if you are too creative, it could be why you're finding YouTube so hard. So in this video, I'm going to give you a 3-part boring intro system that's generated hundreds of millions of views, and I'm going to show you how to solve the most common intro mistakes that most people make. All right, so let's start with the first part of the system, which stops most videos standing any kind of chance of getting views. And it works like this. So have you ever clicked on a video from a channel that you've never seen before and thought to yourself, do you know what? I would love to spend the next 2 minutes figuring out if I want to watch this person. No, of course not, because studies have shown that new viewers will give you 8 seconds before they decide if they want to keep watching. And this is predicted to drop to only 5 seconds now that AI is making people more impatient. So the first step of our intro system is just to make sure that our intros are never over 3 short lines long. But generating views and sales on YouTube is not just about fast intros. In that time frame, there's also one specific thing you need to do to ensure that your viewer doesn't leave. And that's where the second part of the intro system comes in. So to show you how this works, I'm going to play an intro that a viewer submitted to me, and then I'm going to rewrite it using the system. But before you watch this, I really need you to ask yourself this question. Based on this video's thumbnail and title, what do you expect this video to deliver? Now, please think about that very carefully right now. Pause the video if you need to. And then, as you watch this introduction, keep asking yourself this. Does this actually feel like it's going to give me that? All makes sense in a minute, but let's roll the 40-second clip. Do not skip this, just keep watching.
I spent 7 years trying to heal my body from chronic late-stage Lyme disease that many of my doctors said was incurable. So after getting my master's in applied psychophysiology and becoming certified in clinical hypnosis, I learned something so fundamental about nervous system regulation, and that explains why you can do everything right, but still not heal. Maybe you tried all the diets, autoimmune paleo, carnivore, low histamine, low FODMAP. You've cut out gluten, dairy, probably all the sugars. You take your supplements religiously and probably have a whole drawer full of them. You've done all the protocols, the gut protocols, the detox protocols, the liver cleanses, the anti-inflammatory protocols. You meditate, you journal, you do the breath work. You're doing everything right, but you're still sick. If that's you, this video is going to explain something that no one probably has told you.
Okay, so did that deliver on what you expected when you saw the thumbnail and title? No, probably not. In fact, it's very likely from just a few seconds in, you started to think, this isn't what I clicked on. Now, that is a very common experience for viewers on YouTube, and it happens because the people making videos don't usually realize that an intro is actually just part of their thumbnail and title. So to fix this, all you do is you ask, what does someone want to know when they click play based on my video's packaging? If we do that with our example video, I look at this and I think, well, all a viewer probably wants to know is, well, why are they not healing from Lyme disease, even if they're doing everything they've been told to, right? So with that one thing in mind, I'm going to rewrite her intro, and I want you to run the same test again. When you're watching this, does it deliver on what you hoped the video would? All right, so here we go. The intro sounds like this. Antibiotics, detoxing, and diet changes won't heal you from Lyme disease, but something most doctors will never tell you will, and it cured me after a 7-year battle. So in this video, I'm going to show you why everything you're doing to heal isn't working, and the simple changes I made that will. Can you see the difference? I hope so. And if you look at this line in my intro, all I've done here is incredibly boring, because to make sure I matched what you as a viewer had hoped this video would be about, I just repeated the title of the video back to them in it. So when you are writing an intro, you have to start with your thumbnail and title and then ask what viewers expect from it, and then just say you'll give them that very fast. That's it. The thing is, matching expectations like this stops a viewer from leaving, but it's not enough to make a viewer want to stay and watch more. To do that, we have to bring in the third part of the intro framework, and that works like this. So the whole point of a thumbnail and title is basically to spike your viewers' curiosity so that they want to click on your video more than anyone else's. The thing is, most people think that their intro then just needs to tell the viewers what the video is about, but this can backfire because what it does, it pays off some of that curiosity, meaning it can drop and the viewer becomes less interested. So to get around this, you need to write an intro that spikes curiosity even higher than the thumbnail and title did using a hook. And there are many ways to do this. So the style that I used in my rewrite, it just listed 3 very specific solutions to Lyme disease I know doctors tell people based on my research, and then I just said they don't work. but I found something that did. Now, this is known as a cognitive dissonance hook. You'll see them all over YouTube now, but it raises curiosity really well. Now, there are other options too. I could have written a hook like this. Have you ever wondered if the reason doctors prescribed you antibiotics for your Lyme disease is because they get paid to? So that is known as a question hook. This is where you just ask a question where the viewer ideally goes, yeah, I have always wondered that, making them curious to want to know more. Or I could have used a hook like this where I said 90% of people taking antibiotics for Lyme disease never heal. Now that's known as a fact hook, and the idea with that is you surprise someone with a hook that makes them go, no way, that's crazy, so that they raise curiosity and want to know more. Now, there are so many ways to hook a viewer and spike curiosity, but what matters the most right now is that you understand if your intro doesn't continue to spike curiosity after the click. From what I've seen, giving feedback on thousands of intros over the last few years, it's very unlikely you get traction now. The thing is, although I have just told you the system works, it won't if you make the most common intro mistakes I've seen giving feedback on thousands of intros. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly break them down to make sure you don't wreck the system. So the first mistake our example channel made, and scripts written with AI do this all of the time. So to show you how this works, let me ask you a question. When you got to this section of our example intro, where she basically just listed all of the things that you might have tried to cure Lyme disease, how did you feel? For me, I started to get a bit frustrated because I didn't click on a video called listing everything you might have tried to cure Lyme. So after one or two things, I just thought, yeah, I get it, move on. And you will have felt this frustration many times on YouTube before, as often people making videos are worried their viewers might not fully understand. So they over-explain things and turn viewers off. Really, all they needed to say was, maybe you've tried the diet, supplements, and meditated, and it's not worked. And that would have saved like 10 seconds of repetition. So to avoid this annoying mistake, when you write intros, you just want to go back afterwards and ask yourself, is every word actually needed? And then just delete anything that's not critical, because you only have 3 lines max, remember. Now, this next mistake is one of the worst things you can do in an intro, and our brave viewer did it right here in their script, where she said, if that's you, this video is going to explain something that no one probably has told you, because the problem isn't that you're doing the wrong things. The problem is there's something blocking all those right things from working. So the reason this intro has been wrecked is because when you tell someone what the video is all about, this is known as a setup. And a setup is like the starting gun of a race going off. And the second it goes off, you have to move on to delivering the actual content of your video that your viewer expects. But she didn't. What she did here was, she said, this is what the video is about, but then kind of kept giving you more intro. And what that means is the viewer heard the start gun, but then they ran backwards when their brain wanted to go forward. That's incredibly frustrating. So after you've said, in this video, I'm going to show you X, Y, and Z, the race has begun. You have to move on to the first point to drive viewers towards the ending. Okay, so the next mistake is incredibly common on YouTube. And to explain, I just want to know, how did you feel when you heard this line? So after getting my master's in applied physiology and becoming certified in clinical hypnosis, I learned something so fundamental about nervous system regulation. So for me, I was like, what's applied psychophysiology? And why does hypnosis matter? And what's nervous system regulation got to do with anything? Now, I get why they did this, because what they wanted to do was to be seen as credible. But really, the script already said you'd healed from Lyme. That's already given you the credibility, so you should have moved on. So when you are writing an intro or a script, you always have to be reminding yourself that your viewers, they're not on your level, and they've not studied your topic for decades. And assuming they understand why they need nervous system regulation actually overwhelms a viewer and makes them feel dumb. Meaning they will go, this video is too advanced for me, I'm going to leave. So don't use big, long, complex words. They make people feel dumber. And I often just advise people to speak at a level a 10-year-old can understand to play it safe. Thing is, intros, they're just one part of a YouTube growth system. The real art to getting views and sales is understanding how to profile your viewers, how to position every video so that they can't resist it, how to make them curious, how to then deliver value in ways that never overwhelm the viewers. And that requires a whole new system. So watch this video next, and I'll show you what it is. In applied physiology,